energy waves. Turin then conducted decades of amazing research, which has been almost forgotten today. For example, he solved the mystery of why some temple locations in Egypt had the hieroglyphs on their temple walls defaced. He showed in his remarkable 1943 book, whose title in French translates to English as The Scientific Control of All Natural Waves. He showed that the hieroglyphs, when they were complete on the temple walls, with their boundaries intact, emanated a powerful energy wave from the shape of the hieroglyph. However, if the boundary of the shape was cut, as was done in some later time with a chisel, as seen here, then the hieroglyphs became energetically neutralized and were no longer effective energetically. He had discovered that hieroglyphs actually create energy emanations and were not simply for abstract communication. Turin discovered that the reason for the tradition that an upright cross was a sign of beneficial spiritual powers and an inverted cross a sign of harmful powers was that when the form of the cross is inverted, it reverses its energetic spin direction and thereby changes its effect on living energy fields. Turin also found a hidden energetic reason why 7 was considered a holy or sacred number. He found that if he carefully drew a circular spiral from the outside to the inside with exactly 7 full clockwise turns, it would then emanate a powerful carrier wave energy that could broadcast energy from one location to another. Turin showed a wide range of energy effects from artifacts gathered from China, India, and other classical traditions, in addition to Egypt, showing the level of hidden energy science found in these ancient traditions that can now be rediscovered through vibrational radiesthesia. Other French researchers followed up on Turin's early discoveries, completing the vibrational spectrum around 1933. Chaumeret and de Belazal were two researchers who investigated further the mysterious energies in between the ends of Turin's fundamental vibrational spectrum. By moving the spectrum from linear to circular, Chaumeret and de Belazal were able to discover a great spiritual secret, hidden for thousands of years, but known to the ancient Egyptians and other great cultures. A very powerful invisible energy which completes the vibrational spectrum between the black and white bands. This powerful wave appears opposite the green band energy in a circular configuration, leading to their naming this mysterious energy negative green. This name led to some confusion because in reality it's a completely invisible energy which never appears as a green color. It's the polar opposite of the visible green energy quality. If negative green were to appear to visible sight, it would appear as gray. The same as colorblind people today can only see colors as shades of gray, because humanity does not yet have a sense organ to perceive the true nature of negative green. Chaumeret and de Belazal were fascinated by the power of the invisible negative green wave and how it was used in ancient Egypt. They found it had the power to penetrate thicknesses of lead that cannot be penetrated by X-rays. Negative green has the ability to penetrate straight through solid matter, similar to neutrinos in modern physics, which pass straight through matter and straight through the Earth itself. Negative green is a carrier wave on which other vibrational powers can be carried, similar to music or speech being carried on a radio wave. Like every one of the 12 bands of the vibrational spectrum, negative green has both beneficial waves, which tend to propagate horizontally, and detrimental waves, which tend to propagate vertically within the band. The beneficial waves are essential to all life. They are the conduction power behind all life force itself. They may be the actual energy described in the Indian Vedic tradition as the divine feminine moving force of God, the Shakti. Shakti is ultimate energy, just as her consort Shiva is ultimate consciousness. The detrimental waves of negative green are the waves which literally bring death. Chaumeret and de Belazal found that the ancient Egyptians were the masters of this science. They found that the Ankh, is not just an abstract symbol that means life, as we're often told today, but rather it's an actual geometric energy projector designed to transmit beneficial waves of negative green from its base. The top of the ankh projects the green energy quality, and the bottom projects negative green. These are two opposite powers. In ancient Egypt, the beings shown on the temple walls were called netters, nature. In old Egyptian depictions, the netters are shown interacting with human beings through geometric forms, which are projectors of precise energies. In some depictions, the netter is holding the base so that the top of the ankh is held towards a person, which then projects the positive green energy towards them, often projecting that ray into the brain of a person through the sinus cavity. In other depictions, the bottom of the ankh is used to project the negative green wave. Champmery and de Balazal proved and popularized a key discovery of French radiesthesia, that geometric forms project powerful subtle energy waves, which they called shape-caused waves. With the rediscovery of the complete universal vibrational spectrum, with new tools to detect and differentiate all the different bands, the different powers of these subtle energies, the French researchers had reclaimed the lost ancient energy science behind sacred geometry. De Balazal noted that the curse of the pharaohs, which was linked to the mysterious deaths of those who opened up the ancient tombs in Egypt, was in fact linked to energetic booby traps left to protect the tombs, often involving projections of toxic negative green vibrations. The wave form of Luxor was one form which could apparently defend a person from the vertical negative green concentrations which were used to protect the tombs. De Balazal analyzed the shapes on a clay ring which was discovered by a French Egyptologist in the Valley of the Kings. As fate would have it, that Egyptologist, the Marquis de Grand, was the grandfather of de Balazal's wife. De Balazal asserted that wearing this ring was the secret of how the Egyptologist Howard Carter survived the opening of the tomb of Tutankhamun, which had an inscription at the entrance stating that harm would befall anyone who violated the tomb. Soon after opening the tomb, Carter's partner, Lord Carnarvon, died from a strange malady, followed by the deaths of around 18 other members of the team in strange circumstances within 2 years of the opening. De Balazal named the shapes on the ring the wave form of Luxor, which created a powerful protective shape-caused wave, and the ring itself became popularly known as the Atlantis ring. After conducting vibrational analysis of the ring, de Balazal created a straight bar version of the shapes on the ring to create powerful protective forces against toxic vertical wave of negative green concentrations. And he then termed the straight bar version the harmonizer of Luxor. The major discoveries which Champmery and de Balazal popularized in their first book from the 1930s was that hemisphere or pyramid forms both project strong concentrations of negative green from their base. Whether the projections are primarily beneficial or detrimental types of negative green depends on design aspects and the material that it's made of. Just as a hemisphere is a sphere cut in half, and its base then projects negative green, so a pyramid is an octahedron cut in half, and the base of the pyramid is also a negative green projector. In fact, what became known in the 1960s as pyramid power is in fact the mysterious ancient negative green wave. French discoveries in vibrational radiesthesia rediscovered the real nature of this mysterious energy within the complete context of the universal vibrational spectrum, after thousands of years of this knowledge being kept secret. Champmery and de Balazal did extensive research into the use of hemisphere shapes to project negative green, as is shown on the cover of their book from the 1930s. So it was with the discovery in the early 1930s of negative green as the missing band between black and white that the universal vibrational spectrum was completed. This is the full spectrum for the vital life force level above the physical plane, just as the periodic table is the spectrum of all physical matter. With the identification of this full etheric spectrum, a new age of vibrational science and healing breakthroughs has now become possible. Just as modern physical science can perform electromagnetic spectral analysis of periodic table elements, so the universal vibrational spectrum can detect all the subtle energy components of any person, place, or thing. For more information on cymatics, cymotherapy, and practical training in radiesthesia and the vibrational spectrum, please see the resources at my website, www.vesica.org. Join us for our next episode, where we will explore how this incredible energy science reclaimed by the French radiesthesist returned to Egypt, creating the breakthrough modern energy science of biogeometry. See you then.